Okay, here we are in the lesson number 9, well into the improving of your credit score. This is actually the lesson that focuses on new lines of credit, new possibilities. You know, small business loans, vehicle loans, mortgages, credit cards or better credit cards. So by now, and if you haven't yet, we are going to graduate to an unsecured credit card, aside from any other type of card that you have. At this stage of the game, you should be in one. If you haven't, I don't know what to tell you. Well, what have you left out, from what we have gone through in the past? But that's just one of a few points. Now, pull out your cards and make sure that you're using them and you're at the 30% range again. Keep your cards active. Everybody has something that they're paying on repeatedly. You should just set it up automatically on a credit card. You don't even need to ever keep a credit card on you. You can cut up a card and it's still active and open, and the number is good for that card. I would even recommend doing that for some people. But one thing I want you to be aware of is what I believe to be one of the biggest scams out there. And this is, there's a bubble that's getting ready to burst. I'm not predicting anything, but we had a mortgage crisis, 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago. There were a lot of adjusted rate mortgages that had problems with it, and people weren't paying their mortgages, and there was just a lot of problems that we don't need to go into right now. And I'm seeing a similar pattern take place with the high interest vehicle loans. I have a gentleman who is at his 72nd car payment, and guess what? He still owes the original amount on that vehicle. We're talking like somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000. Now, the reason for that is late payments. He falls behind. He's used up all the tools that his collection agent has given to him, and it's a trap. There's a handful of traps, and one of them is the high interest car. I know we have to have transportation, get to work and get the kids to school and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes we just don't want to ride the bus. I know what that feels like. But you really got to ask your question, is it worth it paying a car at such a high interest rate? Now, your situation's already changed. You're going to be finding yourself getting into, car notes and things like that at a lower interest rate. I'm shocked at how many of my clients don't even know what the interest rate is on their car payment. It blows me away that that's the case. But I, again, know what you're dealing with. And I know that you don't have a ton of options, or you haven't previous to this moment. So what you're going to do is I told a gentleman once to go, I said, you got great credit now. Go refinance your car. And he was kind of standoffish. And I explained to him with the numbers that he told me what he pays that car by going from 23 to 3% interest rate, which is someone with poor credit to someone with good credit. He's going to put $300 a month right back into his pocket. And that was a rough estimate, but very close to it. Sure enough, about 6 weeks later, he called me and he said, Jeremy, it was like $390 he was putting back in his pocket. He went from paying over $600 a month for a car payment, and that not being a Mercedes just blows me away, to paying like $210 by refinancing his car. So there's a lot of you that I'm telling you, up to this point, just by changing your car situation, you're going to be putting money back in your pocket. For those of you that don't have a car note, you go out and get one now, I want you to realize the difference in the situation that you're in. These car places that promise we can get anyone in a car and no money down, they're scams, because they know they're going to make so much money off a portion of their clients. It's a scam, and I really feel that some laws and some of the rules are going to start changing with that really soon. So That's one thing. Now the mortgage, the last thing I want to finish with you, we're going to call this story time. I've never really told a story, you know, so come to Storyland with me, and I'm going to read this to you. I'm just going to read it right from one of the papers that we have in one of our publication, a blog or something like that. So let's say you were ready to buy your first home. You work with a mortgage broker to pre-qualify for a $500,000 home, 30-year fixed home loan. Okay. Now your credit score is a 620. So you get a mortgage loan approved at 5% interest rate. And these numbers are a little bit rough, but they were numbers put together to show you a big picture. So this equates to a monthly mortgage principal and interest payment of about $2,685 per month. Okay. It's a big payment. It's probably twice what anyone's rent is. So on your $500,000 mortgage loan, you will pay approximately $466,600 on top of that in interest over the 30 years. Okay, seemingly, this is making your home cost upwards of $1 million. That is a ton of money. Some of you have already realized that. This may be new information. Look it up. It's true. The bank makes a ton of money off of you. Again, this is the system that we are in. So now let's say your credit score is a 760. So you get a mortgage loan approved at 3.5 interest rate, better interest rate for people with better credit. This equates, and see, it's kind of like you're now in a secret society because you got better credit. It's really going to start feeling that way. So this equates to a monthly mortgage principal and interest payment of about $2,245 per month. So it's already a little bit less just in your monthly. So on your $500,000 mortgage loan, you will pay approximately $308,000 and $200 in interest. I didn't say that right, but I know you got the picture. For 30 years. So seemingly making your home cost upwards of $800,000 and $8,000. Okay? You're already seeing the numbers are quite different. By simply having the better credit score, let that sink in, you could potentially save $158,000 in interest over the course of 30 years. Some of you could go buy a second home in 30 years by saving that money on that loan. That's a lot of money. That's why having a good credit score is very important. This can be applied in any situation. On a smaller level, we went over it with the vehicle loans. This isn't this isn't rocket science. It actually is common sense if you don't let the mind get in the work. Just naturally go with it. Gift yourself with the treasure of good credit. You're already on that path. You're already seeing a change in your numbers. You're going to see the fruits of this here very shortly, and you probably already have. But again, a year from now, you're going to see it like any other investment continue to grow. So you guys are doing a great job. I'm proud of you. I really am. I know some of you are already doing things you didn't think or you were only dreaming you could do. Or there are those of you that have dreams that you didn't have before, and you're seeing them as a reality. So next week, for the most part, we're going to wrap it up. We've got a great capstone to put on everything. And I'm sure that'll make sense to you guys. So have a great week. Keep up the good work. I'll talk to you then.